a new strain of coronavirus has emerged in Britain, and this is said to be highly transmissible. This makes it fast and furious, and it spreads to others very quickly. One good thing about this one is that this is not as fatal as the earlier strain, the original strain. That is what the doctors say. Now, this is not the only strain that has emerged in the past few days. In fact, from the inception, from the day it struck the world, coronavirus has undergone several mutations, perhaps more than 1,000, including in Africa. But this particular one is gathering and grabbing all the attention of the world because of its quick spreading nature. That is the reason why all eyes are on Britain, and countries are now afraid of this spreading to their countries from Britain. Several countries have cancelled the flights to and fro London, including India, and all of us are screening the passengers arriving from London to their countries. We are also doing it. We already about 1,000 passengers or so have landed in India from Britain of late in the past 3-4 days, and the governments are conducting the screening tests, and the central government has announced a standard operating procedure to screen all the patients. The most pertinent question being raised and being asked is whether the vaccines that are now in the pipeline, those already launched, along with them those which are being developed, will be useful for this new strain or not. Hopefully they are going to be useful. That's what medical experts say, and let's hope that the new strain as well as the other mutated ones also, as and when they emerge, will be tackled with the same vaccines. The method of detecting coronavirus presence in a patient or in any person is now under question. There are several people in the world who are raising their fingers and seeking to know whether the PCR test is the right test to diagnose this coronavirus. Now, as we all know, PCR test is not a diagnostic test. By no yardstick this could be applied as a diagnostic test to detect COVID. At the most, PCR test, that is polymerase chain reaction test as it is called, can be used to detect the presence of COVID-19 DNA residue in a person. Now this one may be dead one also, but even if it is a dead one, the PCR test will give a positive result. That is, with no active virus in the body also, a PCR test will proclaim a patient as a positive patient of coronavirus. Now these PCR tests were invented by Kary Mullis. Now Kary Mullis, a biochemist who invented this, was a Nobel Prize awardee. He got the Nobel Prize precisely for this test. He himself never said that PCR test is meant as a diagnostic test. It was never mentioned anywhere. In fact, this one is only used to replicate DNA sequencing billions and billions times over in a lab, but not to detect the presence of a virus. This is not meant to be. In fact, he clearly says, this actually means that one cannot conclude that the RNA gene sequences which the scientists took from the tissue samples prepared in the mentioned in vitro trials and for which the PCR tests are finally being calibrated belong to a specific virus, in this case SARS-CoV-2. Now, if one cannot conclude, as he said, that this is a SARS virus, SARS-2 COVID virus, then why should this test be conducted? Any of the manuals in the world go to any hospital, any pharma industry, anywhere where the PCR test is proposed, it clearly says this polymerase chain reaction test is not for diagnostic purposes. Even remarkably, the manuals, all the manuals mention at the end of their booklets that this PCR test is not a diagnostic test. Yet, we are going for PCR tests throughout the world. Now, people want to know, at least some sections want to know, why this PCR test is being conducted and at whose behest this is being conducted and who is insisting that these tests should go on. Another important question being raised is about the cost factor. The cost of these products, including these vaccines that are entering the market, is very high. There is no guarantee that this would come down, and there is no one to impose a cost control over the prices of these vaccines. Going by the history of the pharma industry, we all know that pharma industry is the only industry which doesn't care for any of these governments, however rich they are. They fix the prices and run the markets. Now, we all know that 20 years ago, when HIV scare was very high in Africa, and the governments tried to bring in generic formulations instead of the drug majors or pharmaceutical companies' regular products to deal with HIV, all the companies, the drug majors, along with the EU nations, that is European Union nations, as well as the US, came together to lobby against the introduction of these generic formulations which are very cheap. They applied the maximum pressure on the African governments. In fact, Nelson Mandela faced hell in the hands of these people. He could not almost fight the battle against these people to bring down the prices. These companies, led by the Clinton administration, by none other than the Clinton administration, they threatened the African governments to remove these generic drugs from the market and use only what the pharma companies or the big pharma companies intended to sell. Now that is the control the pharma companies have over the governments. This is possible, and they can do so because these companies spent vast amounts on lobbying. Millions of dollars are pumped into lobbying with every government. Pharma companies pay the highest to the lobbyists in the governments. These politicos take the money and work for them. And public health finds no place at all. But now, at least now, we should say, about 160 countries are protesting against this, and Costa Rica is leading the struggle against the pharma industry. These countries, along with about 150 civil rights groups, have come together and appealed to the World Health Organization to bring down the prices. Ordinarily, the rich countries would never have agreed to do that. But now that their own populations are infected with this virus, they are now afraid of their own people, their own voters, their own electors, and hence are agreeing to apply some pressure on the pharma industry. How far they would be able to bring down the prices, and how long does it take for them to control the prices completely, is to be seen.